Okay, so this is a video, me making an introduction of mahadashas in a person's birth chart. This is me explaining vimshottari mahadashas. So, what are mahadashas? What are dashas in general? So, dashas or mahadashas, they are planetary time periods of a planet. And when you activate the planetary time period of the planet, when you're running the planetary time period of a planet, well then the qualities and traits of that planet, they come alive. And by knowing these things, you're able to make predictions of what could happen in someone's life during a certain time period. And there's many different type of mahadashas. Vimshottari is like the #1 main one that everyone uses, and it seems to be fairly the most accurate one. But you have other different type of dashas. You have Narayana dasha, you have Shula dasha, you have Chara dasha, you have Yogini dasha, you have Ashotari dasha. Like there's many different systems and many different dashas that you can use to make predictions about a person's life or to predict certain areas of their life. But I'm not going to get into all those other dashas. I'm just in general teach you vimshottari. But basically, once you understand the concept of mahadashas, you can basically you basically realize that all the dasha systems, they work the same way. You just got to know the rules of them. Like certain dashas are used to predict and see certain things, or certain dashas are used to only make predictions in certain divisional charts and not just the birth chart. So once you sort of learn what are the rules of that particular particular dasha system, then you'll be knowing how to use it. Easy peasy. So let's start off and just focus with vimshottari for now. So pull out my phone so I don't fuck up. So like I said, every planet has a time span. You are running a mahadasha period right now in your chart. That's probably making you look at this goddamn video of me talking about it or whatever. Who knows? I'm running the dasha. The moment you draw breath, you come alive, your chart is activated, and you're running a dasha. So the time period, the dasha time period of Sun is 6 years. Moon is 10. Mars is 7. Rahu is 18. Jupiter is 16. Saturn is 19. Mercury is 17. K2 is 7. And Venus is 20. And when you add these all together, you have 120 years. A vimshottari dasha system is comprised of 120 years. Now, realistically, none of us are going to live to be 120 years old or older. It's very unrealistic. So you are not expected to run through the major planetary time period of every single planet. It's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not going to happen unless you're just someone very special, or just like you're someone from the biblical ages and shit, where people are living to be like 700 and 500 years old. So how does the cycle, so how do you know what cycle you're in, or what cycle you'll start? How do you know what mahadasha planet you'll start in? It's very simple. You go and look at your moon, because the dasha system is based upon the vimshottari mahadasha system is based upon your moon. So if you were someone who was, it doesn't even matter what example I use. Let's say that you was born with a Hasta moon, which means that your moon is Virgo and is in the nakshatra of Hasta. Well, what is the planet? What is the nakshatra lord of Hasta? The nakshatra lord of Hasta is in fact moon. So therefore, we see that the first dasha that you will be running of your life will be moon. And then after that, the next dasha you'll be running will be Mars, Rahu, Jupiter, Saturn, and etc. Because that's the order. That is like the chronological order of the dashas. Now, there's one pool of thought that believes that K2 is the number one traditional order of the mahadashas in vimshottari, because the first nakshatra is Ashwini, and yeah, the first nakshatra is Ashwini, and yeah, the first nakshatra is Ashwini, and then the Ashwini is ruled by nakshatra lord is K2. So some people will say that the order of the vimshottari time cycle begins with K2. K2, Venus, Sun, Moon, Mars, etc. But there seems to be another pool of thought of people who believe that Sun is the traditional beginning of the vimshottari time cycle. Because if you read the Vedas, Rig Veda, I believe Agni is like the first deity who is mentioned in the Vedas. And what nakshatra does Agni rule? Agni rules Kritika nakshatra. Kritika nakshatra is a sun-ruled nakshatra. So from that logic, some people believe that the traditional cycle of the vimshottari dasha begins with Sun. But depending on what order you fall into, you got to look at your nakshatra lord of your moon. That will tell you that, oh, when I was born, I started off in this dasha, and then after that you'll go in chronological order from whatever nakshatra lord your moon was in. So what else do I have to say? And when it comes to, you know, reading and understanding dashas, it sort of goes like this. Hopefully I'm not making this confusing, because I remember when I started learning astrology and wanted to learn mahadashas, it was so fucking confusing when I looked at videos, and I said I'm gonna try and make it simpler. But essentially, so I told you the time cycles, the time periods of planets. So how the hell do you use this to know what the hell's going on in your life? Well, in a general sense, this is how it works. So let's say that right now you're running the time period of Rahu in your life right now. Like you open up an app and it says that you're currently running the mahadasha of Rahu. Rahu is 18 years. So one thing you want to do is see, where is Rahu in your chart? What house is Rahu in? What sign and nakshatra Rahu is in? And once you see what house is in, what sign is in, you know that there will be a focus for those 18 years on the things of that house in your life. And you'll naturally deal with the natural significations and kargas of Rahu in your life during the dasha of that planet. And then what you will also want to do is make Rahu your ascendant in your chart. So if your Rahu is like in Sagittarius, so let's say that you are fucking, let's say that you are, I don't know, a Virgo ascendant, and you was born with Rahu in Taurus, and you're running your Rahu mahadasha. One of the things you will want to do is make Taurus your ascendant, because that's where Rahu is in. You see, when you're running the mahadasha of a planet, that planet becomes the focal point of your life during the time period that you're running that planet. So you want to make Rahu the ascendant, meaning in the case of this example, you will make Taurus your ascendant, and you will want to view your chart from the perspective of Taurus, and wherever the planets fall in your chart will show you the things that you'll be dealing with during that time period. Just pay attention. Like, oh, from Taurus being my ascendant, or from Rahu being my ascendant, my Venus falls into the 6th house. So you can be like, oh, okay, I can see that during my Rahu mahadasha, I'll have obstacles and troubles and delays in love. Or, ooh, I see that this Raj Yoga, this Dun Yoga, from Rahu being my ascendant, it goes into the 10th house. So therefore, I can expect, therefore I can expect during my Rahu period, I will have trouble with love, but I'll be making money successfully during this period. So that's how you gotta view it. You gotta look at where Rahu is at from your birth lagna, aka your birth ascendant. And you want to look at Rahu from your dasha lagna, which is aka the mahadasha of the planet you're running, which would be Rahu. You'll make that an ascendant. You look at your chart from there. Then, lastly, I know I'm spending a whole lot in this fucking video, but fuck it. Lastly, what you would want to do is look at your chart from the moon lagna. You gotta damn near look at everything from the moon lagna, because the moon chart, the moon represents your mind, your emotions. The mind is controlling the body. How you think and how you feel determine your actions. So the moon chart is very important. So you'll make moon your ascendant, and you'll see where does Rahu fall at from moon being in your ascendant. And then you'll be like, okay, I see that from the moon chart, I'll also be dealing with these type of things in relation to Rahu. And you will do that same thing I just told you for each and every fucking planet. So if your mahadasha planet is Sun, you make Sun your ascendant. Look at what happens to your whole chart when you make Sun the ascendant. See where does the planets go. See if this is going to be a good period for love, or it's not going to be a good period of love. See if this is going to be a good time period where you'll travel a lot, or where you can get a home. You do that shit. Then you'll make moon your ascendant. Look at your moon chart. See where does Sun go. See where does that planet go. And yeah, whenever it comes to the mahadashas, you look at your birth lagna, aka your birth ascendant. Look at the dasha lagna, which is making a planet that which is making the mahadasha of the planet that you're currently running your ascendant. And then you look at the moon lagna, make moon your ascendant, and look at where does that planet, and see where does the mahadasha planet goes. And then to see other details of other areas of your life, what you will want to do is look at your divisional charts. So if you are curious about making a prediction or seeing that this time period would be good for you to maybe buy a house or home, you look at, the birth chart, and you look at the D4 Chattadamsha chart. I know I fucked up the name of that chart, but you look at the D4 chart, and you'll see that, okay, I see that when I make this mahadasha planet the ascendant, that these planets fall here and this planet fall there. Oh, so that would be a good period for me to buy a house. Oh, this won't be a good period for me to buy a house, or I'll struggle to buy a house. Or look at your Navamsha. If you want to predict when you might find love or get married or whatever, you look at the Navamsha. Oh, I see I'll be dealing with this during this time period, during this dasha. Or you look at your D10 chart for career. Or you look at your D11 chart to see if you'll be able to make financial gains and wealth from your status and position in career. So you just got to keep twisting the lagnas around for different divisional charts during these mahadashas to make predictions in your life. And that's sort of like, in an elementary sense, the basis of mahadashas in general. You got to flip the lagnas around and examine the mahadasha of the planet that you're looking at, that you're running, to see what the hell is going on. And then after mahadashas, you have planetary sub-periods. You have antardashas, pratyantardashas, and all this other shit. But you mainly just want to focus on the mahadasha and the antardasha. The mahadasha and antardasha, which is the sub-period, the antardasha is the sub-period that you'll be running. Those are the main two important things to really look at. So let's say that, like I said, you're running like the mahadasha of Saturn, which is 19 years. But in your sub-period, your antardasha, you're running the time period of the planet Mercury. So what you want to do is, for the mahadasha, you do everything I just told you. You look at Saturn from the birth lagna. You look at Saturn from dasha lagna, which means make Saturn the ascendant, and you'll look at Saturn from the moon lagna, which means you make moon the ascendant. And then you'll do the same thing for Mercury. You'll look at Mercury from your birth lagna. You'll look at Mercury from dasha lagna. You'll make Mercury the ascendant, and you'll look at Mercury from the moon lagna, which means you make moon the ascendant. You see where Mercury went at. And you see what yogas are being formed. You see what's aspecting one another. And you can say that, okay, I see that during the mahadasha of this planet and the antardasha of this planet, these type of things will happen to you. These type of things will occur. This would be a good period for you to do this. This would be a good period for you to do that. And yeah, that is the general basis of how mahadashas work in general. You would do that. You would do what I just told you for damn near any dasha. For any dasha system. You would do it for Jaimini Chara dasha. You would do it for Yogini dasha. And various other type of dashas. You gotta take that planet and you flip it around. Look at it from birth lugna, moon lugna, and dasha lugna. Now the other dashas, the other little sub periods, because you got mahadasha, antardasha, prayantardasha, those dashas that come after antardasha, they get small. The time period gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So those little sub periods, they're really only good for people who are really good at astrology and really know what the fuck they're doing. Those are for people who are really great at pinpointing that, you know what, I see that specifically during the week of this year and this month, you will do this. You will get married. You will get into a car accident. Somebody will die during this week or during this day. But almost nobody is really that great at making predictions that great that they're able to funnel it down to like a month or funnel it down to a week. So the mahadasha, of course, mahadashas, they can range over the course of several years. An antardasha, depending on the mahadasha that you're running, an antardasha can last for a couple months, or an antardasha can last for like 2 years. So it's by, you know, funneling down those sub periods, you're able to refine your prediction. You're able to be like, okay, I see that strongly based upon the influences of the planets that are being ran during these sub periods, that this type of event will happen to you. And then, if this wasn't confusing enough for you, it gets even more confusing. After you make your predictions and you looked at things from flipping around these lugnas, you want to look at transits. You want to say that, okay, everything is adding up with these dashas. The final thing you want to do is just look at what is transiting in the sky. Transits are to be the last thing that you use to make an accurate, confident prediction in someone's life. Because first, you gotta look at a person's chart. You gotta see if they're running the mahadasha first. You need enough planetary influence. You need enough energy in a person's chart in order for a certain prediction to come to life. The transiting planets in the sky, they're like the whipped cream and the cherry on top of an ice cream, of a sundae. They just like solidify and confirm and make your prediction even more accurate and just pinpoint the time periods of it even more. You can't really just look at the transits of what is a planet doing. You can't just look at the transit of a planet and see where it's transiting in your chart and make confident, accurate predictions all the time. You'll be wrong a whole lot of times. First you do dashas, and then you look at transits. The transits, after you double check shit with your mahadashas, then you use the transit, and then you have a confident prediction that, okay, after I did all these calculations, after I did all this measurements, I see that is at this time period, you'll get married, you'll get that promotion, you'll lose your job, you'll get the job, you'll get a divorce, you'll get a car, you get a home. That is when you'll be able to make predictions. Predictive astrology is not easy. Predictive astrology can make you crazy and make you want to pull your fucking hair out. Predictive astrology is what separates a person who just uses astrology to talk about personality traits all the time and someone who is very good at actually pinpointing when a certain event will happen. But even with you learning the fundamentals of mahadashas and vimshottari mahadasha, it takes experience to really be able to get good with making predictions. It takes a lot of failure, a lot of knee scraping. Yeah, it's nice to know the logical rules, But this is an occult science. You need to still to be blessed and get spiritually tapped in and connect to God or divinity or deity or something. And maybe connect with the planets, talk to the planets, do rituals or whatever you want to do to maybe get more divine and spiritual, connect to a higher source of power. Because if you don't, if maybe based upon your chart or just based upon your karma, your life or whatever, if it's not meant for you to be able to see and make predictions about certain things in a person's life, then you just won't be able to do it. You just won't be able to see it. It just won't be meant for you. You can have all the book knowledge you want, but if you're not able to walk in the knowledge, if you're not able to execute the knowledge, then it's pretty pointless. And I don't think there's really, I'm just being naive and amateur right now, but I don't really think, or I'm not familiar of, or really know of any really astrologers, maybe aside from like, you know, maybe like the only real huge big one, Karen Rao or Mark Boney, that might be really good at making predictions. And y'all can feel free to correct me, because like I said, I don't act like I know everything. I don't know everything, but I'm just speaking from my experience. Making predictions is very hard. It's more easier to just, you know, stick with breaking down and talking about nakshatras or personality traits or other things, because making a prediction can be very hard. But I hope I did not make this complicated and confusing for you. But the truth of the matter is, learning mahadashas is simple, but it can also be very complicated when it comes into, okay, how do I make a prediction? How do I predict this? It gets confusing. So it's simple fundamentally it's simple, but all the different ways and methods that you can examine things to make predictions gets very fucking confusing. So in the next videos I make, I will be breaking down all 9 planets: Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Moon, Sun. I probably missed 1 or 2, but fuck it. I will be breaking down the simple, normal things that you can expect in general when you run a dasha of that planet. I hope this gave you great